That dude's over there just blaring that horn for like 30 seconds because this dumb Prime driver has been sitting there for a while. Like, get your fuel and move up. Jesus, that dude, this is not the first time. He's done this like 3 times. And he started again. I'm sitting here dying. Dude's just... I don't know if you guys were able to hear that, but that's funny. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Dude is not taking any... Now he's doing it again. Holy... Oh. Busted. Just a little snack. Alright, so I know some of you have seen the post, because I haven't made the post right now, but I'm going to be making the post long before this video comes out. And I had someone tell me that my truck only weighs 7,000 pounds full of fuel, right? And then called me a millennial and said I had no clue, but you're going to argue with the guy who has to drive over a scale daily. The weigh stations, you're going to tell me the weigh stations are wrong, the scrap yards that I go to are wrong, and let's just play a game and go to the scale, right? That we're at the CAT scale. I'm going to fill up with fuel. Mind you, 140 gallons weighs 980 pounds. According to the internet, that's 7 pounds a gallon. So I'm going to fill this bitch up, and we're going to weigh it. And I'm going to give you guys an exact number here for the guys who didn't see the post. So I'm genuinely curious what the exact weight on Bertha is as well. And then we're still planning on adding a ranch hand, so it's only going to get heavier. It's windy as shit down here. Look at this stupid design. It goes the opposite way. It barely reached. So, we're filling that up. Mind you, we got a couple little things back here, an extra radiator, but I'm just gonna consider, like, that's probably, what, 40 pounds right there of extra shit? Not even, maybe 20 pounds of extra shit. I will throw this away, but everything else, going out of my way to fuel when I didn't need to, but it is what it is. Yeah, realistically, I don't even have all my tools in it, but you gotta figure, this skid, I'm gonna estimate probably weighs like 500 pounds. The welder, I don't know what the welder weighs. I know the fuel tank's about 1,000. Well, the fuel tank and the lower is about 1,000, so we'll see. It is windy as hell, though. I know you guys can hear. Damn, I didn't realize they used that much fuel. $290, they use 75 gallons of fuel. So we got about 10 hours until pickup. Sorry about the wind. Alright guys, I guess the guy was right. My truck only weighs 7,000 pounds, full of fuel. Just kidding. You think I'm fucking kidding? Like, what kind of stupid person do you have to be to say that a truck with a fucking welder and a fuel tank weighs 7,000 pounds? Come on now. So, I was off by 100 pounds. The CAT scale says that I weigh 9,700 pounds on the dot. So, it's kind of neat. Front axle was like 49 something, and rear axle was like 4,600 and something. Give or take some numbers. I don't remember it off the top of my head. But I just posted the scale ticket so you guys can see it. There you go. You think Bertha weighed that much? I expected it to weigh a little bit more, but that's fine. You're gonna argue with the guy who literally has to drive across scales and shit. I usually do it loaded, and a lot of times, like, I don't have the fuel tank full, so I can really only guesstimate, but now we don't have to guesstimate. We know that Bertha weighs 9,700 pounds. It blows my mind that y'all's back roads are 75 miles an hour down in Texas. Look at that shit. 75 mile an hour speed limits on a back road. I got 7 more miles of this. And then they give you passing lanes and shit. Pennsylvania would never. This would be a 45 all day. All right, so I'm in a Pilot. I'm about to go get a shower, but before I go get a shower, I'm gonna do the transfer case fluid, and I should have turned the left wheel. I still gotta put that fucking grease fitting in there. That's been a fun one. And then went and got me a burger, because when you have a fast metabolism, you have to eat like shit in order to get anything out of it. But I'm gonna fill the transfer case, see how much it took. We have about, I think, 23 hours to go until we get to Orlando. So we're gonna be picking up tonight. I gotta give the customer a call. Apparently it's a 24-hour thing. And then once we pick up there, I can start heading over to Orlando. We're gonna try to book something coming back up to Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, the amount of sitting on this trip has been a lot more than it needed to be, because I don't have a fifth wheel. And I didn't know that I was going to do this. This was completely last minute, so I had no time to prep and get a fifth wheel, because by the time I order the part, it's going to be probably a week before it comes, and then I actually have to go buy the fifth wheel itself. And you guys know me. I'm not going to go buy a new one when I can buy a used one for a decent price. But we also got to do some welding, because I'm going to push that fifth wheel all the way to the back, and I'm going to try to incorporate it into my gooseneck hitch that I already have now, because I want to use the B&W gooseneck hitch while I can. And then if I need to pull, like, say, one of those mobile kitchen trailers or some shit, then we'll just go get a gooseneck hitch for the rails. But I'd like to specifically use the rails only for the fifth wheel, and the gooseneck hitch that's already in there for the gooseneck. So we're going to have to chop out a middle section of the fifth wheel rails once we get it mounted as far back as possible. I'm going to weld it to the skid, and then I'm going to weld a brace between the two. So this thing's going to be structural as hell. Like, it's not going to go anywhere. I think factory rating on these things is like 30,000 pounds. And I'm going to try to beef it up as much as possible. So basically the skid's going to come down. The brackets will bolt to the frame, and the rails will bolt to the brackets, but then I will weld them to the frame as well. So not only will everything be centered, that skid is also going to be part of the structural. So anytime I pull the skid out, it's going to unbolt from the rails, and it's going to make it it's going to make it nice. Let's just put it that way. It's going to be structural, it's going to work, and I'm going to be able to pull fifth wheels from behind. Now, unfortunately, we're getting dangerously close to that dually territory, and I really don't want a dually. But on the bright side, if I ever go and buy another truck, all I got to do is take everything off, and this whole thing will bolt into any 8-foot bed truck, and I can bolt those frame brackets into any frame I want, and we have rails on any truck that I need to have. All right, so it's not leaking very fast. You guys will see that little mark there. It's leaking from the seal. But, like, I have gone through barely this entire quart since I left. Mind you, I'm in, about 8,500 miles right now, and it's leaked like 3/4 of a quart. So it's not bad. If it was any worse, I would definitely go get the drive shaft balanced. I think what we're gonna end up doing is just getting the carrier replaced and then getting this rebalanced. I've been doing some research, and apparently these things like to fly off, and my drive shaft guy has told me that a lot of these drive shafts aren't actually centered from the factory. And I was watching a video the other day, whereas like these were out by like 60 thou between the center to center, which is crazy. So usually every time I get a truck, I take the drive shafts and I go get them redone. I want to get these U-joints for all of them because these are nice. I'd like to get them replaced for the front. So I'm gonna go and get the front drive shaft rebalanced first, have him do that, and then when it comes back, then we'll do the rear drive shaft, because I can live without four-wheel drive for a little bit. But let's see, let's do some checking. Yeah, she's all right. No wigglage. My biggest worry with this drive shaft was that it was going to launch itself, because front drive shafts like to do that, and it scared me ever since. But between that, the only leaks this truck has now is the rear main slightly leaks, and that over there. So we're in about 8,500 miles. By the time we're done tonight, we'll be at the 9,000 mile mark. We should be. And yeah, we're putting some miles on this truck. When we get back, I would like to do the rockers as well. Since this is just going to be a parts truck, I'm just going to try to do the outers, but we'll see. I just want it to look decent on the outside. All right, we are back out of the shower, just filling the tank now, and then yeah, once we're done here, we can head out. We got about 4 hours and 45 minutes to go. We're going to pick up around, I'm actually earlier than I thought I was. I told the guy around 1 o'clock, so it looks like we're going to be there at like 11:54 is what this is saying. So I'm going to assume for like, let's go for 12:30. I just got to fill it, and yeah, we're back on the road. All right, we are about 2 hours and 30 minutes, and it's dark. But the roads, it's a 70-mile-an-hour zone. This dude's about to pass. I don't know if you can see his headlights. That guy, turn your high beams off there, brother. But yeah, so we're moving. I hit an animal earlier. He just kind of like ran out, and I ran him over. I'm gonna check, see what's going on underneath there. My boy, if you want to pass, just fucking pass. Like, I was coming the other way, and there was a guy that passed and just barely almost hit me, but he was passing a semi, so let's keep her going. So I'm doing like 73, and this guy here has wanted to pass. Jesus Christ, my guy. Like, he's had all the opportunity in the world to pass, and then the lane ends. Fucking pass! Some people, you can't be afraid to pass, my guy. This guy, it took like 4 passing zones before he finally passed. Mind you, I'm not going slow. I'm doing like 73. It is a 70, but it's a back road, and I don't feel like hitting any animals. Look at that. He finally passed. Finally. He went to pass me like 3 times, but then just wouldn't commit. No, he got him. There's the po-po. He pulled that guy over. All right, we are about 5 minutes away from picking this trailer up. I'm gonna go a whole over thing, but I'd like to go over some comments because y'all are wild, all right? I be getting comments like I should go get a semi and this and that, and I wanna let you guys know, seriously, I am not doing this hotshot shit. I'm not. I did this one time because I'm like, 1, it's extra money. 2, I'm like, you know, I haven't done it in a while, but I am sticking to that. I quit hotshot. I did a video on it a year ago, and I'm like, I'm only gonna run runs when I want to. It was extra money, it made good content, and this and that. And there's no need for me to go out and buy a semi, for 1. 2, I got a lot of comments when I quit hotshot that, oh, you failed, and oh, you did that. So this was kind of a fuck you to all the people that's like, hey, you failed. I'm like, no, I didn't. I just don't like to do it. I like to be home every day. So I'm like, fuck it, let's go do a whole cross-country run. And I literally fucking Pennsylvania to Tennessee to Washington to Oregon to California, back to Oregon to California to Utah to New Mexico to Texas to Orlando, Florida, which is where we're dropping on Monday. And then I'm hoping we will see what we have next. But also, the other reason it doesn't make sense for me to get a semi, for 1, not only the fact that I'm just not gonna run it, I'm a mobile mechanic, I do welding, I have a shop. The other thing is, my insurance to be a hotshot is literally $320 a month. That is 1 million liability and 100,000 cargo, all right? If I go get a semi, I am not covered under the same insurance company. I'm gonna turn my backlights on because that guy has his fucking high beams on. But I'm not covered under the same insurance company, so my insurance would be like $2,000 to $3,000 for a semi. Whereas right now, I don't wanna run, so I only pay $320 a month. And I can run whenever I want, and this is the only way you can physically run part-time hotshot. So, all right, let's get in here, check the time. I know, ignore the dinging, ignore the dinging. We have 19 hours of drive, but here she is. They said it was like 9,500 pounds. It didn't feel heavy when I pulled it out, but I think we're absolutely perfect with the squat. The hitch, pretty low. Make sure everything is up under there. This was kind of confusing, but it's fine. We got our breakaway, we got our chains all good. Do not transport unit with liquids in the tanks. Okay, hopefully there's no liquids in the tanks. Just a good old kitchen trailer. Said there's no damage on it. But yeah, like I said, I mean, do you guys think I should get a single axle semi to run shit like this? You know, that's the other thing with this truck. So, well, with a truck in general, right? Not just this truck, because like it's a truck is a truck is a truck, right? But I can take my kids anywhere with this. I can go to the store, I can go to the gym, I can daily drive this, and insurance is only $300 a month. So that's my huge benefit with that. It's like that's my financial freedom. She has done me some good work. I'm thinking, and a lot of guys said it too, I'm really thinking that the reason I was having all these issues this trip was physically because of that tiny home. Those tiny homes are truck killers. So, I mean, I haven't had any issues since I dropped the tiny home. So, I mean, everything's been fine. So let's hope something like this. I mean, I don't know what my fuel mileage is going to be, but speaking of restroom trailer, oh, I remember these things. Yeah. Speaking of restroom trailer, I gotta piss. So we're gonna get out of here, get moving. The other thing is I don't need a single axle semi to run mobile mechanic. That's literally what this truck does, is mobile work. Trailers are just a bonus. So yeah, let's just keep that in mind. Also, I'm so much scale. Like this is just the reasons I do it. I change my mind in the future, it's fine. But as of right now, the reason I do this, like I can take this, go drop it in Orlando and drive around, and this doesn't matter. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed the DOT numbers on the truck. These are my DOT numbers, but they don't go back to any truck because I don't need these. I'm using someone else's. So for you guys wondering, and all the guys, oh, I'm gonna call DOT because I don't like your videos, like, fuck off. They're not gonna do shit because these don't mean anything. And this is the shop number, and then this is the website, so. Which, the business name, we are going to be changing it one day. I just gotta figure out what name I really want. Like the CP Logistics and Diesel Repair, which is kind of like to get me going. But like, I really want Industries, something Industries, because we literally do everything. We do welding, we do diesel repair, we do mobile repair, we do a little bit of hot shotting leased under another company, like do a lot of stuff. So it's like, I think it would be cool to have Industries. So that's just me. Also, for you guys saying earrings, these are not earrings, by the way. These are my ears. So if you're gonna hate, at least get it right. They're plugs. All right. This is a 1-inch hole. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I got another one up here. If you guys hating, this is not a ring. It's a plug. You nincompoops. All right. It is nice out. I just woke up. We got stopped last night by the Border Patrol. They are out. Not transporting any illegals. But man, it is beautiful. Yeah, and then someone came and knocked last night while I was trying to sleep, and he's like, "Oh, we thought someone abandoned you." Nah, you're good. Go back to sleep. And I was like, "Oh yeah." One of them guys, but we I don't know. We got a good ways to go. It's actually really friggin' nice out. Really nice out, but we have about 18 hours to go, so let's get it. All right, so this load isn't hateful, and you see what I mean, guys, with the first gear. Once you learn to shift a 48RE, it is so nice. And it's like 75 degrees outside, and even with that minor coolant leak, lock that converter, it still runs pretty good. I think 215, 216-ish is the most I've seen. I think there's an air pocket now. I had to say something. All right, unlock, shift. I'm on, shift. There we go. There we go. Yeah, it is 75. It's hot as hell out here. So we've been cruising about 75 mile an hour. The whole, 75-ish, 70-ish. This trailer really isn't all that hateful. Watch that temp just plummet. She's dropping. Also, I changed the voltage gauge to a throttle position gauge, so I know how much throttle I'm giving it. And so do you guys. So when you want it to shift, you let off and re-hit it. Now we're in overdrive. Pass, motherfucker. So I was told that this trailer grosses out at about 9,500 pounds. So you figure if my truck weighs about 9,500 plus this weighing about 9,500, we're about gross 19,000 pounds with a bumper pull. And I mean, it's not super tall. So height-wise, it's not hateful. We're not getting bad fuel mileage at all like we would with a tiny house. Alright, so this is the absolute hottest I have ever seen this transmission run on a constant trip. And it's a 9,500 pound trailer. We're sitting right around 18,000, 19,000 pounds gross. 212 on the coolant temp has been pretty consistent the whole time, and it's 77 degrees outside. No aftermarket trans cooler, just full send diesel lines, and the front cooler with no thermostat in it. And 160 is where it's running. I'm gonna actually have to slow down because this guy's going slow. But I mean, we're rolling 70 to 75 this whole trip. I've hit faster than 75 a couple times and slowed down. With the single wheel, I'm trying to keep it under 77. because I don't know, like as much as I don't want a dually, I also don't want to blow out my single wheels either. And then there's the tire pressure monitoring system. Alright, this is going to be our last fill up here on this video. So Bertha has been alright ever since the U-joint replacement, which I don't know if that U-joint 100% needed replaced. It was just kind of like a maintenance item and it had like a little bit of slop in it. So I was completely fine with replacing it. But everything has been alright other than, I mean, the smidge of the coolant leak, but I mean, that's not really a big deal. So I'm gonna get our fuel here. I'm gonna walk around the trailer. Pilot's satellite pump isn't working, so I had to do that. But here she is on the passenger side. It's basically a big shitter. No issues with bearings, nothing. This is plates from Florida, Sunshine State. So once we get to Florida, I'm hoping we can find something going up real quick, and then we are done. I really don't like these trips. I do have a shitload of stuff booked when I get back, as I was saying, but I also have loads. So I have one from Tennessee I gotta go pick up coming back to the shop. I have one from Maryland, and I have one from Ohio I gotta go pick up. So we are gonna be doing more trips like this, but not like actual trips where I'm going cross country, because I'm like right now about at the 9,000 mile mark since I left my house. So I've put about 9,000 miles on Bertha. And I mean, for what it is, other than the injector going out, that was pretty obnoxious. But the turbo thing, whatever, and the radiator, it's just basically maintenance and then some U-joints. So, I mean, it's not that big a deal. But I'm gonna go ahead and clean this windshield because I have not replaced the wipers yet. You see, I pulled the motors off, or the arms, they just come, it's just a clip. So when I get home, I have spare motors for it. So I'm gonna get this windshield cleaned off with this shit, and all right, boys, we're gonna close this video out here. It is 80 degrees, we got all the windows down, we got some truck boys. Appreciate you guys for sticking around. I'll let you guys know if anything happens in the future. Let's get on to the next video. See you guys later.